I'd like to welcome our viewers to Ignite the Spark. This is a program we do every month. We have a different guest that we invite to talk about our students, our education. I like to refer to Ignite the Spark. It's when you're talking to someone, whether it's an adult or a student. And at first you kind of maybe are getting a glazed over look. They're looking at you like, whatever. They really don't care. And all of a sudden, something that you say sparks their interest, and you see that light bulb go on. That's what we do when we work with the program, the mentoring program called Horizons for Girls. And it's really a lot of fun when we're able to ignite a spark in one of those students and engage them so that they want to be more involved in their education. To me, that's really exciting. They have a lot of potential. We really want to make sure that they are able to fulfill that potential. I'm excited about my guest today, Dr. Sheehan, and I have known each other for, we're not going to say how long, a long time.
Measured in decades.
I'll let you actually introduce yourself a little bit and tell you maybe a little bit of history of when you and I first met each other.
Wow. Well, many years ago, Char was my boss as a school board member. Again, I'm Joe Sheehan, Superintendent of your Sheboygan Area School District. Thank you so much for having me here. The whole idea, I think our discussion today is about partnerships and we as a community and what does that mean. School districts are a part of it, but we're learning more and more we can't do it alone, nor should we do it alone. And conversely, community members realize we must work together, and what does that mean? So some of the discussions I hope you hear today, and you'll get some people inviting to say, hey, you know, I'll call the district and get involved, or with Rotary or Kiwanis or, you know, many of our programs to get them in our classrooms next to our kids.
Yeah, that to me is really exciting. The book that really sparked my interest, that made me decide to give you a call, was a book. It's called Our Kids, and written by Robert Putnam. And it's interesting because it reminded me of when I was a single mom, a teenage mom. My son now turns 44 years old, but I can remember I had a job and he would come home from school about 3:15 or so. I wouldn't get off of work till 5 o'clock. But the neighbor lady who had a son also his age would always make sure he got home from school okay. She would make sure that maybe the kids needed a snack. She would make sure that they maybe were playing, or she would keep an eye on him until I got home from work. So I always knew that he was safe. I didn't have to even worry about necessarily some daycare or after-school program. It was a neighbor lady just saying, I'll make sure that Scott's okay till you get home. To me, that was really interesting and exciting. And I don't know that that happens, and I realize different society now. But again, there's some great programs in the school system. As we were talking before we started taping the show, the ones that came to mind for me were the foster grandparent program, the lunch buddy program, and then, of course, some of the service clubs have some programs. The Rotaract, I know they've got the Rotary Club's got a group at South High School, the Kiwanis Club. Now, is there a certain school that they're
North
in?
and South, both.
Okay.
Yeah, the key clubs, right.
Okay.
But you bring up a point. I'm in your generation too. I remember when the kids would come home and either we took care of them or their neighbor did, or I got them on Wednesdays, you got them on Tuesdays. That isn't like it was. But what we've done as a district is reached out and said, okay, let's provide after-school programming. What that has done, it's only for an hour or so, but it kind of is bridging the gap, and now we're seeing more of the neighborhood pieces again. So, oh, that's right, you live right next to me, but they're connecting after school out of class, not in the academics. And then they may walk home together. And then the parents are starting to connect of, it's okay, you don't have to do it alone. You know, work with your neighbors. And that's what you talked about. There's, I think, that mindset now of, I'm a single parent, or there's both of us at home, but we need to do it on our own. No, you don't, because you can't. So reach out in your neighborhood, but also in our schools. And that I'm taking pride in, that is, I think, like you, I love that, is sparked. it's sparking people to say, hey, this school district's more about, it's not just academics, it's how do we make sure the kids have a support, either directly with their parents or other adults. Now, the whole idea we're working on in our schools is every kid, every child will have a significant adult in their life. One. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but we as a district, one, either with homeroom or it's called advisory for middle school and high school. And of course, at the elementary, it's much easier when you have the same kids and they have that connection. And what we're finding is that the kids are beginning to support each other now. And we've set up structures where ninth graders are being advised by seniors. And if you remember years ago, there's a huge difference between a senior and a ninth grader. And what's cool about the ninth graders is they'll listen. When a senior tells them, hey, here's what you need to do, here's how you get your act together, here's how you time manage, here's how you don't or do use social media, those discussions are taking place. So one of our biggest challenges is that social media. You know, again, in my time frame, social media means, okay, I'm texting. I may be sitting next to you, but I'm going to text you. Shar, did you get that? So how do we make sure the kids are still connecting? And at the same time, at their level. Because when I'm talking about connecting, I talk, I look at you, we talk. I'm still struggling with that personally because technology can be used and you can still have that very positive impact and discussion with each other. But how do we still set it up so that's happening, either with or without technology?
Well, and that's exciting because even, you know, as you were talking, the other program I'm thinking of is Inspire Sheboygan. Another great way for kids to connect and see some role models.
Right.
I mean, when I went to school, I thought I was going to be a secretary. Well, that lasted through my senior job shadowing, and I figured out this is not what I want to do. And I went from there. It taught me some things. There were some business skills that I learned. My parents had their own business. I learned a lot from that. But again, being able to, and I enjoy that so much when I can set up one of our students and have the opportunity to shadow. One of our students has shadowed a couple of attorneys. She's thinking she wants to be an attorney. She now is looking at shadowing the municipal judge.
Really?
So, you know, being able to take that step and feel safe about it, that's what's exciting, because I think sometimes you might be thinking, oh, I'd kind of like to do that, but how do I go about that? Yesterday I'm talking with a student that wants to shadow a detective. And it's interesting because, again, she comes from a population that in the past historically has been questioned by a detective, maybe has gotten in trouble maybe for something. And now she's a junior and she's saying, I've got to start to plan ahead and think about what my options are. So it was fun yesterday because I had her write a letter requesting the job shadowing, and then I said, why don't you also come up with some questions that you would like to ask the detective if you're able to sit down with her. So she came up with probably 15, 20 questions of what she would like to know. So they're really starting to get excited about the possibilities out there. And that to me is exciting.
When you mentioned Inspire, that's exactly it. It's using technology and more importantly, using the commitment of our community. It's students look up, oh, what am I may be interested in? And we have a bunch of professionals that have said, if students want to talk to me about engineering, if they want to talk to me about HR, if they want to talk to me about electromechanical, whatever it is, they are a reference. And the students can plug in and email them, then they can call and start talking and say, hey, talk to me, what does this mean, blah, 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 blah. And we really appreciate our community. Those are people taking time out of their day, out of their either work day or non-work day to talk with our students about what their careers are. Hey, if you're interested in such and such, like you said as secretary, well, through your discussions you realize, ooh, you know what, that's a good thing. I tried it, but that's not what I want. Well, that's what our kids need to do. And through Inspire, again, thank you so much to our community members. They're signing up to, a teacher can tell them about certain things, but they can't tell them about what's happening in the professional world in certain areas. So we need to reach out, and we have, and the response has been incredible. Actually, right now, we have more sponsors or more people willing to talk to kids than we have kids connecting, which is a great problem. Because now our next step is, okay, kids, you want to explore something, like you said, a job shadow in some area that, wow, you may be interested in. There's nothing stopping you. Do it.
Right, and the sky is the limit. It was interesting, actually, because again, on social media, last week I think I saw somebody made the comment that the sky is not the limit because men have walked on the moon. And it's like, aha, okay, I need to think broader and bigger and higher.
Right.
And that's very true. So one of the girls I'm working with now, you know, she said, well, I think maybe, you know, my dad was in the service, my uncle was in the service, my grandfather was in the service, so I guess that's what I'm going to do. But you could tell no real excitement. We kept talking. This was right before the school year started. And she was talking about she was going to be going fishing with a friend and how she liked being outdoors and stuff. And I looked at her and I said, did you ever think about doing something with the DNR? And she goes, no. So now I'm connecting her with some people that work with the DNR, and she's excited. So again, and nothing at all against being in the services, some great benefits.
Right.
You know, education.
But is
health.
that exciting to you? It's not just, yeah, that's what my mom or dad did. I mean, does that rock your socks? If it does, good.
Exactly.
Another group I wanted to, just junior achievement's been tremendous too, as far as, again, getting business people that have the background in finance or in marketing or whatever coming into our classrooms. And again, a teacher talking about it's one thing. When you have someone in the trenches saying, hey, here's reality, folks, and getting some kids, ooh, thanks for telling me that's not it. Conversely, other kids, really, is that what that is? Like you talked about, oh, maybe they'd be interested in trying something that they wouldn't had they not had that other community adult come and touch base with them.
Yeah, and I think that's really so important to involve the whole community. You know, when people out there might say, well, you know, I'm retired and that's not for me, I guess what, you still can participate, you still can be involved. Right. One of my mentors, I just finished training, and yesterday was probably only her second time of working with our group, and she goes, how old do you think I am? And the girls are guessing, and she goes, I turned 70. and the girls are like, oh, you know, so again, it's opening their eyes and saying life doesn't end when you reach that certain age. It keeps right on going and going. Yeah. I took them a week ago, right before school started, actually, I think we were at the Sheboygan Retirement Home, and we were helping them get some things organized for their move that they're going to be doing. And then we paid a visit to, her name is Loretta Schmidt. She used to be a teacher years ago. Okay. She celebrated her 90th birthday right before we had gotten there. So I told the girls, I said, we're going to go, we're going to visit her, and we're going to talk to her a little bit. And very, very sharp woman. And of course, we took Faith with us. We had a wonderful visit, and she was talking to the girls about, you know, the different life experiences that she has had through her life. And that to me is just a powerful information. Yeah. You know, because it's fun when I can talk to the students and explain that, you know, they complain about doing a term paper and it's got to be so many words. Well, and they can make the computer count those words. I said, well, when I did that term paper, I had to count those words.
Do you remember whiteout?
Yes, carbon paper. You know, and it's fun to share those stories with them because, you know, they think it's so tough in school now, and it's like, let me tell you. Right.
Well, again, and I keep explaining to our staff, go for it. Get community into our schools, and conversely, our students now are getting more in the community. I hope in the next couple of years, well, quite a few kids are taking it now their senior year. They have internships, and they're in our community into a profession that they think they may want to go into, and that's just going to explode. I mean, explode to the point I'm hoping hundreds of our seniors are at school half the day, the other half, they're in our community. And our response so far, our community members are saying, we want them, bring them here. I mean, quite frankly, take advantage of the skilled labor shortage. Our own community members are saying, we want our kids trained to be here and stay here. Why are we waiting until they graduate from high school? And the students are definitely saying, please, I want to get out there. And again, as you did, that's something I really tried. You know what, I'm glad I tried it because that's not what I want to do. That's a success. I'm trying to explain that, and the teachers are getting it. Hey, a failure or a no, I don't want to do that is a success until they keep going to, aha, this is really exciting.
Yeah.
Like you talked about with your person in the military. Okay, have you tried DNR? Had adults such as yourself not talked to that person about it, she wouldn't have thought about it. And that's, we have this testing we got to do, and that's fine, but testing doesn't cover everything. The other piece is, that old Abraham Lincoln quote, and I'm not going to say it right, something effect, whatever you're going to be the best at.
Okay,
well, that starts from get something that you want to do. What motivates you? What you get? And I joke with our staff. TGIM, thank God it's Monday. You picked education. Well, every kid should be leaving us with that same passion and excitement of, I think I'm going to try this. And in 10 years, they may have gone off in a total different direction, but at least they're excited about where they're going. And we got to spend time doing that and, quite frankly, leverage this incredible Sheboygan community that wants to help us and help our kids.
Yeah, it's exciting when I can see the community step up and do those kind of things. To me, that's powerful. It's just incredible. And when they, even as simple as doing community service, when I take the girls out and we do some community service and they're working side by side in the kitchen at First Congregational, maybe for Seal's meal, and they're helping chop up vegetables or whatever, and great conversation in the kitchen. There's senior citizens, there's elderly people there, there's some professionals there, and we're working in the kitchen, and they're having conversation, and all of a sudden, one of those ladies will stop and ask one of my students and say, well, what do you think about this? Whether it's politics or education or whatever, it's interesting to see the students engaged in that conversation all of a sudden. That to me is exciting.
What's so exciting about that too is ever so subtly, it's one of those, it's a message that you don't intentionally do, but that's probably even more powerful. What are we telling our kids? We're telling our kids, as you progress in your life, it's important to give back, because these adults don't know you from Adam, but they believe in you and what it means, and they're taking time out of their day to spend with you. So as you move through your career and you become in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, by the time they're that age, give back. And there's just so many positive messages when our community and our schools get together.
Yeah, and it's neat to see that culture being raised up within my students. I think of a fundraising letter I just finished doing. Actually asked two of my students to just one sentence, what would they say to a potential donor? And one of them said, I would like you to pay it forward, because if you pay it forward, that means I am going to have the opportunity to pay it forward. And I thought, powerful.
Think of what you just said. That young lady that you worked with wouldn't have said that had you not. It's all connected.
And then the other one you and I talked about is Guadalupe, who just got back from AmeriCorps and now is working, she's actually doing some schooling, she's working at a dairy farm. She finished her AmeriCorps, was able to travel the country doing service work, came back to me and she said, hey, do you think maybe I could do this mentoring thing? How would I go about it? So guess what? Shar being Shar said, let's get together. I'm going to show you what it's all about. And I'm working with her now so that she can be a peer mentor. And that to me is exciting.
So that spark again.
Getting them excited about something, that is just so powerful. Again, when I look at the students and I'm trying to, even the other day we were doing something with math and one of the girls is going, well, this is useless. And I said, now, wait a minute, let me show, I'm not the one that likes to do it. I'm not the one that likes to balance my checkbook or any of that. But here, let me show you how many different places that's going to become necessary. And all of a sudden they're going, yeah, okay, I guess so. So, taking the time to make sure that they understand that all those parts of that education are important. I think that is critical. We don't do it just to kill time. We're doing it because it is something that's going to help them.
You're right. And we're expanding much more into career pathways for our students. What career are you thinking about going into instead of I'm going to college? That's not a career. Well, hopefully it's not for the parents' sake, but the idea of what are you interested in doing? And that is so empowering because a kid can't just go through high school anymore. I'm going to college, okay, adults are off my back. What do you want to be involved with? You know, marine biology? What are you talking about? Why do you want to go to college? What is of interest to you? But that gets the kid back in responsibility. It's up to you. It's not us that you can go through quietly and not really say what you want to do, and then we haven't prepared you at all. You're going to have to take a risk and identify something. And we have different softwares that they do of what their aptitudes, and they try it. And then again, if it works, great. If not, okay, what's the next thing I'm going to try? But we're telling them it's up to you. We will help get you the experiences with our community for you to see if you like it or not. But you can't sit there anymore and say, yeah, I'll just pass my classes and lay low. What do you want to do? Your academic and career plan. And we're meeting with parents now and the kid. Okay, what is it? Talk to us. And then it goes back to, okay, if you're interested in, then how do we connect you with our community? And again, we can't have that straight discussion with the parents and the child without that community support.
Right.
Because we can talk smart. If there's no programming for a student to explore in an area they want to, then we're doing them a disservice. So that's been the biggest growth the last couple of years. And again, I can't speak highly enough of our community saying, yeah, we'll engage with our kids. We'll be glad to have time talking to your students about what my profession's about.
Well, and you know, as we start to wrap up the show a little bit,
I thought we had another 20 minutes, hour.
I could talk about this topic
Yes,
forever.
you could.